So I'm going to do a quick video on how to use a TI-84 or 84 Plus as a graphing tool, or how to graph things. So yeah, first thing you're going to do is you want to turn it on with the on button, and then once you do that, you go to this y equals button right there, and what that does is it puts you in your functions that you will graph. So right now we're at like y plus 1. So if I want to do something like, x minus 9. Okay, so we have that in. So how do we graph it? Well, in order to graph it, we have to go to this little button right there that says graph. So we press that, and it shows us our function. And so, yeah, that's kind of the basics of how you do it. And if you wanted to like trace it or see it at different spots, go to this trace button right there. And so right now it just shows you like the different points as you go along, and you can go left or right. But what if you want to find it at a specific point? What if you wanted it to find the y at x equals 7? Well, if you want to do that, I think you just type in 7 and it'll automatically put it as your x. So once you do that, you get, like in this case, y equals -2. So if you wanted to, let me see if you can.
They all have an accent. I saw those. Yeah, I'm proud.
So yeah, so now we have the basics of it. So if we want to make if you want to delete a function, you press this little clear button while you're hovering over it, or you can do delete to get it one at a time. So now we have it all cleared. We should be good. So let's say if we have a more complicated one. So if we want to do, and yeah, if we want to use like an x, we got to press this button that has the x and the t, theta, and n. Because right now it's just going to say that it's our x. So yeah, we do x. Say if we have like x squared minus 3x plus 5 or minus 5. Say if we have that as our function, and let's graph it. So it gives us like this parabola, right? So if you want to also have more than one function, you can go back and then you just go down to y2, and that'll give you your other stuff. So if we want to say like 7x minus 4, you can put that in, and it'll also give us the other function. So if we wanted to look like a little more zoomed in, say like right here, there's multiple ways you can do that. So you just go to zoom, and so the box will like give you, you can set the parameter of where you want the zoom to be in, or if you just want to be simple, you can just do zoom in, and then you can set the center point of where it will zoom into. So if I zoom in right here, it's going to focus around there. So yeah, it's going to give you really zoomed in. But if you want to go back to standard, you just go back to, you do number 6. So you can also press the numbers and it'll select one of these. So in this case, 6 standard is by 6, so I press 6 and it's back to normal. So if you wanted to do other things, say like find the minimum or the 0 of it, you want to find where y equals 0, instead of like if you didn't want to do the quadratic formula, which is understandable, you can just do second and then the trace button, and I'll do the calc. And then you can find, like if we want to find the minimum of the second one, or the first function, And it tells us to like kind of set a boundary to focus on. So in this case, I'm just going to set kind of in this general area. I guess probably around there. And then it tells you your minimum. So it's, yeah, the x and y value. So that's pretty convenient, right? So if you want to get the x or the zeros, you go to second trace and then you do the 0. And you can set the boundaries again. So in this case, I'll just send it here and here. So it tells us that there's one there. Oh yeah, I guess it just says there's one there. So I guess if you wanted both of them, you would probably have to set a boundary again. So in this case, I'm just going to say and there you go, it tells you your 0 on that side. So now that you have that, if you want to use, so now if you want to use other modes, it's clear. To go to other modes, you want to press this mode button right here. And you want to, so yeah, right now it's in where it says FUNC and PAR and POL, and those are the different kinds of functions you can do. So right now we're on regular functions. Let's say if you wanted to do like parametric or so on, then you can just do that. And then you can do second mode, which is quit. And then if we go to our functions, now it's going to give us like in the parametric form. So like an x in terms of t and y in terms of t. And all you really need to do is, if you have like functions that need to do parametric, put them in. Your t is going to be this button, just as it was with the x. So yeah, like t, and then do that, and then you graph it. Oh, so we can't see it right now. So one thing we could do, you can also set a window. So if you want to make it a lot larger, you can. If you want to set the scale for how you want to do it, you can. Oh, here. But in this case, I'm not going to really worry about that. So in this case, I'm just going to zoom out. And I'm going to start at the origin. Just so, okay, so that gives us our basics. And so, and you could probably figure out all the traces with that. And if you wanted to do polar, you can go to mode, and then you select this POL right there, that's for polar. So then you clear, and then now it's going to give you all that, and just as it was with the previous times, you just have to use the theta, and it should give you, like if you do it like that, or if I want to do another function like cosine of that, and then I grab it. Oh yeah, so right now it's really zoomed out. So if we want to set it back to normal, just press 6. So let's see, right now it's gonna give us, yeah, so even though R is the dependent variable, like it's what we kind of want to look for, it's giving it to us in X and Y. So how do we change that? Well, in order to change that, we need to press, I think, second, and then format, or zoom, but if you press second and zoom, it's going to give you format. So right now it says rect GC, which just means rectangular coordinates. So if we want to change it into a different coordinate, the polar, we want to select polar GC. So yeah, once we quit, now let's graph it again, and let's trace it. Because yeah, it's going to look the same no matter what kind of graph you use, but now it gives you the r in terms of theta. Oh, and if you have multiple functions on, so like this is the first function I have, right? But if I have the second one, I want to use the second one, then you just press down and that'll put on the second function. So yeah, you have things like that, and it'll give you your r in terms of theta. So yeah, that's pretty much all you guys really need to know. If you have any more questions, let us know.